Good morning, Broncos country. If you're in the mountain time zone, that is. If you're anywhere, I know we've had some viewers over in Europe. First of all, congrats on having your Germany game. You know that was big. Well, I'm sorry that you had to see Tom Brady win yet another football game. But thank you guys so much for tuning in. It is a great Monday morning just because I'm with you guys, not because I had to talk about this Broncos game. That clearly is not great. And if you guys want to join me in the theme, I am wearing black today because it is officially the funeral for the Denver Broncos. And fingers crossed, everything willing, that this is the last, this is just the nail in the coffin for Nathaniel Hackett. Now, I know that the Broncos were pretty much dead in the water before this game anyway, but it's pretty much just super obvious now that they're not going to make the playoffs, especially when you have a stat like this. This is from our great Joe Mahoney. Find him on Twitter. Is that after a 3-6 start, the best of any any Bronco team has ever done was 7-9. The average is 5-10. Goes back to the 14 game era on that one. So the odds of making the playoffs at 8-9 are absolutely terrible, pretty much impossible. So there goes, and we're starting things off with a great note, aren't we? But what I have for you guys today is going to take a deeper dive into the game, the Russell Wilson issue. Melvin Gordon has got to go, and the latest news from Broncos country. And we'll see. Haven't seen anything as of yet when it comes to the injury front from yesterday's game. So the most recent information I still have there is pretty much from yesterday post game. That we've seen, and of course I also went into maybe some Broncos head coaching changes, took a look at some different aspects of yesterday's game. That dropped on a podcast over on from MHR Radio. You can find that at Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and you get anywhere you get your podcast. Once you're done watching this one, go on over to anywhere your preferred podcasting site, and you can go ahead and check out that edition of Horse Tracks. But let's go ahead and jump into the game recap just real quick. Of course, you can find, if you're new here, go ahead, follow or subscribe on Twitch. You guys are just awesome, and your support means everything. Follow us on any podcasting platform, social media at Mile High Report, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. Yours truly runs the Instagram, so you can find me with everything that you want. You can go ahead and respond. Hit me up over on the Instagram, and you can find tons of awesome daily articles over at milehighreport.com. But let's go ahead and get into a bit of today's game recap, because once again, the thing that we're all talking about is how underprepared that the Denver Broncos look. They come into this game off the bye week. They managed to put up just 10 points against a depleted, injured defense, and they looked horrible in the process. And just let me know if you've heard that before. Maybe everything besides the bye week, because nothing about this team has changed, and nothing will change until the Broncos get a new head coach. With that head coach being, like I teased on that podcast. There you go. Here's my another plug for this one. That head coach being Champ Bailey. Now that might be clickbait. It might not be clickbait. Go ahead and check that one out. This is just so disheartening, so disappointing. It just goes to show you just how inept Nathaniel Hackett, this coaching staff is. They just you can give them a week, you can give them 10 days, you can give them 2 weeks, and no matter what, that is not enough time for this team to look any bit respectable, for them to look prepared, for them to look like they know what the heck they're doing. And when that happens week after week after week, that is 100% on the coaching staff. Well, sorry, 95% on the coaching staff, 5% on the players. But this team still, nonetheless, it is a coaching issue that the Denver Broncos are facing right now. Whether that be normal, maybe coaching staff, head coach, offensive coordinator, that kind of support staff, or whether it be the coaching staff in the strength and conditioning part of the team, because, oh boy, no one can stay healthy. And so this is a game where the Broncos managed to lose it, where they were even on the turnover margin. They were leading that until pretty much the last play of the game. They had more total yards, they had more time of possession, and they had more first downs. And they even had less penalty yards. When does that happen for the Denver Broncos? When's the last time they had less penalties or penalty yardage than the team they're playing against? It is quite incredible the lengths that the Broncos took to find a way to lose this game. Speaking of penalties, they had 8 penalties for 50 yards. 4 of them were false starts. I believe that's how they started the first 2 offensive series in the second half of the game. So their first time seeing the field in the second half. So the deadly third quarter to the Denver Broncos, the part of the game where we all just wish we could skip past because nothing happens for the Broncos besides the last game against the Jags. That's the only time the Broncos have put up any points in the third quarter this season, or at least haven't done anything of driving the football this season. So it also doesn't help when you're 4 of 17 on third down, but you have two drives in the second half that start at 1st and 15 essentially. That's not great. Not great at all. That's what correlates to your average yards to gain on third down being 8.1. There's a reason the Broncos don't convert any third downs, is because they have a mile and a half to convert. One positive, though, be offensively a positive, because the defense is pretty much always a positive for this team. But offensively, one positive is rookie Jalen Virgil in his first game, he had his first catch, and that was for his first touchdown. 66-yard touchdown reception, gets past the defender over the top of the second level, wide open. He outruns everyone. Foot race, it's a touchdown. Great play by a rookie. That was awesome to see. That's what we've been waiting to see from Virgil as soon as he hits the field. So, but here's the ultimate Broncos fashion though. What do they do? What happens after the rookie makes a big play in his first catch on his first target in his first game? What happens? The Broncos don't even look to him the rest of the game. They hardly even have him on the field the rest of the game. He was targeted only once this game. So whether that be personnel, that no matter what, that still comes down to coaching, that comes down to personnel, that comes down to game management, that comes down to play calling, play design. You have a guy that showed a big flash that scored the only touchdown of the game, and you decide to not play him, to not go to him for the rest of the game. That is one thing I do not understand. That is one thing I can't get through my brain of how stupid that is. It just doesn't make sense. If you have a coach anywhere close to competent, you're taking a look at that guy at least 2 more times. At least 2 more times. It sucks, man. It sucks that we have to do the same old song and dance every single week, and it really feels like it just doesn't get any better. Sorry, Virgil. You're screwed. You're on this Broncos team right now. At least hopefully next year is going to be a little bit better. We'll talk that up in some of the quotes that we have later on, a little bit later on in this one. But with that being said, let's go ahead and take a look at the second thing that I want to talk about today, and that is what I've deemed the fuss about Russ, or as I've titled here, the Russell Wilson issue, so to speak. Because the big question that Broncos country is asking right now is incorrect. That they have been asking. I haven't been saying this. I'll get to my defense here in a second. But the accusations that have been brought against Russell Wilson, it's weird, and everyone. I mean, it's been happening for weeks now. But the question now is, especially after this game, is it time to give up on Russell Wilson? Is it time to give up hope in him? Especially after this game where he completes just 50% of his passes, 21 for 42. He has 286 yards, a touchdown, and then that interception, essentially the last play of the game. A pass rating of just 70. That is out of 156.6, I believe. Mind you. So, less than half. That goes with his season average of around a 35.8 QBR. I believe, or not. What was it? QBR. because that one is only out of 100. So nonetheless, his metrics are bad. That's all we have to know. So in his lone touchdown and most of his yards, he only, besides that pass to Virgil, he only completed 20 of 41 passes for 220 yards, no touchdowns, interception. So it's not great. And then also Russell Wilson's been having issues seeing the field. He missed a big pass to Greg Dulcich there as well. He got bailed out by Cortland Sutton, who made a great play. They complete that pass to Dulcich. That's a 45-yard completion. Things are looking a lot better. He's missed open guys. This is just something that's been happening all season long. And also one of the 6 sacks was his fault. 5 of the sacks came in the second half. And one of the 6 sacks came in the first half. I believe it was in the I think it was in the second quarter, kind of near the end, where it ended up being a coverage sack. Russell Wilson holds on to the ball for 6 seconds. You can't really fault the offensive line for that one, but what you can fault them for is giving him 5 sacks in there in the second half. Unfortunately, it was that happened, after some more offensive line injuries. Also, the Titans really turned up the pressure in the second half. So also on the side note on that one too, when it goes back to kind of coaching ineptitude, the Titans, what we see consistent, or pretty much any team in the league, what we see consistently is that they actually are able to make adjustments after the second half. Hackett, I swear, I don't know. I really want to see what he does in the locker room at halftime. I want to see what the coaches do in the locker room at halftime, because from what it looks on the field, I swear they don't do a dang thing. They probably just stay in the bathroom for 20 minutes, then lead their team back to the field. They are not doing a single thing differently at the second half compared to the first half. It's mind-boggling how pathetic that stuff is. With that being said, especially with the sacks, I'm not sure any quarterback could have a good game behind this offensive line, because they're playing with a third string right tackle, left tackle, in center now. I think they're still playing with some kind of switching things up at guard, some backups there as well. Like I said, they gave up 6 sacks for 38 yards, 5 of those coming in the second half. And also, horrible coaching is not helping either. This is not Hackett doing anything to the benefit of Russell Wilson. In fact, it's almost him doing everything to the what's the opposite word of benefit to his not benefit? I'm blanking on the word right now. You guys know what I mean. We need to see. There's what do we see in Seattle? Russell Wilson, so many naked bootlegs, rollouts, design plays like that, instead of just him having to do those when he's running for his life behind this offensive line. Play to Russell Wilson's strengths. Play to his abilities. Especially when Russell Wilson is still injured. He's playing with a torn lat. He's playing with a bad hamstring. And pretty much every Broncos player is playing with a bad hamstring. And that's taking away a lot of his throwing power here. Why he might be underthrowing guys. Might be why he doesn't have that certain touch, like we saw with him in Seattle. So obviously that doesn't excuse him for not seeing the field. That doesn't his eyes are not injured. All right, at least not that I know of. His eyes are not injured. So what that means is that the vision problems, the missing open receivers problems, that is a lot of that blame is on him. But you could still attest that to the poor schemes and the style of offense that Hackett's trying to force Russell Wilson into. It's just not helping. It's not doing anything. It also doesn't help that Russell Wilson's also playing without 3 of his top 4 receivers, and his top running back is injured as well. So this is a horrible situation for Russell Wilson to be involved in, for him to be stuck in, essentially. And so that's why I am not hating on Russell Wilson as much as maybe some people are. From what we've seen, at least in terms of the comments on the articles over Mile High Report, it probably ranges between 85% Hackett and 15% Russ, when it comes to the blame. I've seen like even recently like 95% of the blame is on Hackett, only 5% of the blame is on Russ. So I think that's really accurate to where it should be. A whopping grand majority of the blame of the ineptitude of this team should lie on Hackett's shoulders and his alone. Russell Wilson obviously taking a little bit of the blame, but he has a lot, whether you want to respect him or not, Russell Wilson has a lot of excuses of why he's been playing poorly this season. So that's why I am withholding judgment on Russell Wilson until the Broncos, until next season essentially, until we see a healthy team, a healthy Russ, and a real coach running things in a real offense for Russell Wilson. I am withholding judgment. All of my blame is going to Nathaniel Hackett right now. And I'm not trying to be angry at him. I don't know why. It just feels like Hackett just has like a friendly face. So when I see his picture, it's hard to get mad at him, but then I see his play calling and the way the Broncos look, and then it's so easy to be mad at that, man. So my take on here is that Russell Wilson, he's having issues, but he is not the issue. Most of the blame should not be going to him, and we should be withholding judgment, especially when it comes to the whole Seahawks trade where they fleeced us or not. I think we should be withholding judgment until the Broncos get a real coach in. They'll probably turn things around. It's hard to have a worse coach. Hell, even a guy like Josh McDaniels, still a better head coach than Nathaniel Hackett, and that's really saying something when Josh McDaniels is better than you. But besides Russell Wilson, another player that we need to talk about here is, it's going to be Melvin Gordon, because Melvin Gordon, Melvin Gordon, I know your guys' feelings about this. This is what the if you're tuning in from the Mile High Report, from the embedded article, it was on Melvin Gordon. We're getting to Melvin Gordon because I know how all you guys feel about him, because that's how I feel about him. Melvin Gordon has got to frickin' go, man. Why is he still getting the majority of snaps? What he done to deserve this? Why? I swear, there's a reason why the owners haven't voted for frickin' Schneider to sell the team. And he said himself, apparently, he has dirt on everyone, including Goodell. All right, so that's why he's essentially blackmailing the rest of the league. Is that what Melvin Gordon is doing to Nathaniel Hackett right now? Is he just blackballing the coach because he has some legitimate just stuff on him? Because why else would Melvin Gordon still be getting the most snaps when the Broncos' success comes in spite of him at times? All right, because listen to some of this, or at least I will say the Broncos should use Gordon only when they absolutely have to for the remainder of this season. Get rid of him as soon as you can as well, because it just helps. The only reason they should keep him on the roster is because they need a third string running back. All right, you can't just have only two on your team. So the Broncos, so in this game, so Melvin Gordon finished this game 7 carries, 24 yards, 3.4 yards per carry. But if you take out his longest run of 11 yards, he had only 6 carries for 13 yards, 2.2 yards per carry. And he also had a negative rush attempt. He also should have had a fumble, if you want to argue that. He was ruled down, technically not a fumble. You get the idea, though. And it probably would have been ruled a fumble if the Titans challenged that play. All right, so that's the crazy thing here. And it's so annoying. He came up after that play smiling. What? Now I know, like he said in recent interviews, it's like a mental thing. It's almost like he's having mental issues when it comes to this stuff. But man, it does not seem like he's taking things seriously. It's almost because he doesn't have to. No matter what he does, I really feel like he could buy Nathaniel Hackett a puppy and he could shoot it there on the field. And Nathaniel Hackett is still going to have him being the key running back for this Broncos team. It's baffling. It's insane. It makes zero sense. The question is, why is Melvin Gordon still getting the majority of snaps? The unanswerable question. There is not a good answer to that. The only answer to that question is because Hackett doesn't know what he's doing. I mean, that's the answer to most of the questions about this Broncos offense this year as well. Oh man. And one of the key things here that I want to take a look at is how the Broncos only have success when he's off the field. Is he only had 1 touch combined in both of the Broncos scoring drives. Latavius Murray had 6 touches during that touchdown, during that field goal drive there in the second quarter. And I really do not care how much he wants to complain, how much he wants to whine, how much he wants to speak to the media, how much he wants to cry on the sidelines. He is a liability to the Denver Broncos. He's done nothing to prove that he should be the key running back to this team. He's done nothing to make up for his poor play this season. He's done nothing for that. And the lead back right now should be Latavius Murray until Chase Edmonds gets fully acclimated to this offense. Latavius Murray has actually looked pretty good for the Broncos this year. I've been fairly happy. Well, obviously, I'm not saying that Murray is great. I'm not saying that he should be a starting running back for the Denver Broncos necessarily, especially when frickin' Javonte Williams is healthy. Can't wait for next season. I'm sure we say this all the time. Can't wait till the next season. But there we go. That's another season of saying that. The Cowboys fans, all the time, they say it's our season. Broncos fans, we say it's next season. All right. And I liked what we only were able to see a couple rushes from Chase Edmonds. One of them was for 10 yards on a little draw play. So that was nice. I like Chase Edmonds. I liked what he did in Miami. I liked what he's done before. I think Chase Edmonds is actually going to finish the season as running back 1 for the Denver Broncos. But as of right now, lead back should be Murray. He's a solid running back for what he is, for getting a veteran off a practice squad this season to fill in for an injury. Latavius Murray has done pretty solid for the Broncos. I appreciate what he's been doing, at least especially trying to do. Shown a lot of effort in that backfield. The Broncos offense, especially against the Titans, had way more success with him in the backfield than we did with Melvin Gordon, of course. So I want to see Murray get the most snaps. I want to see Chase Edmonds really be featured. I would love to see Murray be the lead kind of rusher on this team, and I want to see Chase Edmonds utilize a lot more. If the Broncos are going to throw 1,000 screen passes and check downs and in swings and screens and check downs and all that fun stuff, I want to see Chase Edmonds be super utilized in that passing game. That's what I want to see, and I want to see Melvin Gordon on the bench. Heck, I would love if he doesn't even sue it for the game, so there's not even a chance that he could come into the game and ruin things for this offense. So that's my definite feelings on where Melvin Gordon lies with this team, where this offense lies, and man, it's such a mistake bringing him back this season. Such a mistake, but also the Broncos made a lot of mistakes this offseason. Most importantly, we all know the biggest one. All right. And no, it's not trading for Russell Wilson. All right. I know some of you guys might be thinking that one. Of course, let me know your thoughts on this one. Sound off in the comments if you're watching live right now. Of course, you can also hit me up on Instagram if you're listening if you're watching the replay of this one on Twitch, or if you're listening to the audio podcast version of this a little bit later on the Monday. But before we cap things off, just want to jump into what we have here. I just got the latest news on the Denver Broncos and some quotes coming out from the game. We're going to hear from Nathaniel Hackett, Russell Wilson, and Josie Jewell. And right now, just when it comes to the injury updates standpoint, I do not have much for the Broncos because not a whole lot's come out. Monday's a big MRI kind of day. So if you missed maybe some of the most recent news, right now, actually we do have a bit of an update on Billy Turner. Right now, his knee injury, of course he left the game, his knee injury is looking at likely a long-term injury. So that freaking sucks, man. He's hardly seen the field because of injuries. Now he has another injury. I feel bad for the guy. To be honest. But we still have Jerry Jeudy, who's getting an MRI today, probably not an Achilles, but an ankle injury. We have K'Waun Williams getting the MRI today to see what's conclusive about his knee injury. Graham Glasgow is still getting his shoulder evaluated. So we're just going to have to wait and see about those injuries. Justin Simmons is still listed as day-to-day with his knee injury. Hackett said he's probably going to need another week. So there's hope in that he'll be able to play next week, or I guess this week now that we're past the game, however you want to see it. So that's how we have. That's what we got for in terms of injuries. Let's hear from some of the players and coaches before I take a look at Instagram to see if you guys have left many questions or thoughts about the game for me. That's how we'll really cap things off. But Nathaniel Hack, after this game, he said, and the question was, coming out of halftime again, the third quarter, second half overall, I think right up until the interception at the end, can you put your finger on the sort of continued struggles? Hackett goes on to say the most predictable statement. Third down, I think third down is one of the biggest things. We have to be able to convert on third down. Fantastic idea. Man, I wish I thought that one. And whenever we get those explosive plays, we start moving the ball a little bit. Again, the third down is kind of what's continually gotten us. We were almost better off on fourth down. I think he was right, at least in terms of conversion percentages. So we've got to get better there. Yeah. I mean, he's not wrong. He's not wrong on this one. He's just not a whole lot. Yeah, I guess, man. I freaking guess. Third down, kind of like what I mentioned earlier, the Broncos were horrible on it, 4 for 17. It's hard to win games like that one. On their kind of what we've seen on most of their touchdown drives is that they just don't get into third downs. They just kind of stay at second downs and keep getting chunk plays. And their conversion was horrible. It also didn't help when they were bad on first and second down. On average, on third down, they had 8.1 yards to gain. So that's really hard to convert those when you have to go essentially the whole distance you get when you get a first down. All right, that's not happening there. Russell Wilson, he was talking about some of the offensive plays, and he said we were moving the ball down the field and we thought we were going to win it. Then I got sacked. Then it was 4th and long. They went offsides. On the last play, we almost had it, but I got hit when I threw it. But I've got to be able to make that. I've got to be able to find a way to make that. Yes, that's one of the even more heartbreaking things. It's not like the Broncos just lost by a score. They were really close to the end zone when Russell Wilson threw that interception. So that was a sucky one to see. That one stung. And it's just another reason why Russell Wilson, one, he probably needs to make a better plan on that one. But two, it's hard to play when 3 of 5 offensive linemen are third stringers. The Titans are a good pass rushing team, and they were pretty much bringing everyone. All right, so just a horrible situation to be in with like the more quick plays, but the Broncos can't get those going for whatever reason. Probably bad route combinations and just really predictable play calling. That's one thing Hackett also noted, that they were trying to do that and they failed at doing that. Just another thing they failed at offensively. All right. Then let's hear from the defense, because Josie Jewell was asked, is a guy that tries to keep them all together. You're 3-6 now. Where are you at to save the team mentally? Now, this was an interesting thing. I really wish we could hear what Courtland Sutton said after the game to the locker room, because Josie Jewell said that Courtland Sutton had a great talk today after the game about not just coming in here and checking a box off. And that's what we're going to do. We're going to come back in here tomorrow and the next day. We're going to go to work. We're going to try to hone our craft as best as possible and keep grinding on every single day to try to get better. We don't have to do anything different than that. And what I would love to see on that one is maybe the thoughts around the locker right now. Heck, maybe even what Courtland Sutton was really alluding to is, hey guys, we're going to have a totally new offense or a totally new coaching staff next year with some different players. Go ahead, play your butts off. So because that next coach is going to be watching film and you want to be a key component to that. Essentially, that's probably what he's saying, because ain't no way. Now, if they haven't come out publicly, there's been nothing official, but there is no way that the locker room is still behind Nathaniel Hackett. It's an impossibility. It's an improbability. There is no way these guys are still backing him, at least like on a insider perspective. Outside, it looks like everything's fine, but inside, there is no way that those guys are still with Nathaniel Hackett. And if they are, I just really respect the kind of men that they are. So that's such a bad situation for them to be in. I feel bad for the players at this point. But that's pretty much going to wrap it here. Before we get a send off, I have a few things from you. If you want to sound off in the live chat right now, go ahead and get your questions or comments into me while I'm still here. But just got a few responses from you guys on Instagram that I want to just highlight here. A couple of thoughts and a question on the game. Offense needs stay on the grind, says to us. Offense needs to do better, 8. Now I'm not sure what the offense needs to do better, 8. I don't know what the 8's for, I'll be honest. But yeah, the offense does need to do better. 100% right on that one. Doug Brickle just says speechless. One word, that's all we need. Absolutely, my friend. Yeah, you hit the nail on the head with that one. And then Smokey Moana _ some interesting names you guys got on Instagram. He says, she said that, or asks, is there still hope for our team to make it to playoffs? Kind of what I said at the beginning. No. Pretty much the best that the Broncos could do right now is 8-9. And there's no way in heck that they make the playoffs at this point with the AFC, with that kind of stuff. And I would love for the Broncos to win out because it gives the Seahawks the worst draft pick. That's really all the Broncos have to play for at this point. That's all we have to hope for. Also, all we have to hope for is that the 49ers just lose out. But the Chargers were not doing us any bit of favors last night. Thanks a lot, guys. You suck. But ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for tuning in to this edition of Horse Tracks Live every Monday at 10 a.m. Mountain Standard Time, twitch.tv/MHR_live. You can listen to you can watch the video of this in the replay up to 2 weeks after we air. That you find that also on Twitch. And you could listen to the audio version of this on any podcasting platform that you prefer around Monday afternoon. So I'd probably say around 2-ish, 3-ish. It will be up there by then. But with that being said, my name is Ross. Check us out, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, at Mile High Report. And find me at Mile High Report on Instagram. Yours truly runs that. Really appreciate you guys tuning in today. You're just the absolute best. You're a legend. I hope all you go out, have a fantastic day, have a fantastic week. Thank you for listening to my voice to help get your week started. I hope it carries you throughout the rest of these 7 days until we get to another probably abysmal Denver Broncos football game. But I love you guys. I hope you guys just stay safe, stay healthy, stay well. And I don't know, man. Go Broncos.